Chapter 1. The Invitation. Join us at the table. On February 10, 1989, I met Drew Stafford Harper. I loved him the moment I set eyes on him. Since that day, I have hugged him, changed his diapers, exposed him to the unique and, of course, transcendent cultural contributions of 60s and 70s rock music, watched him captivate audiences from the stage, and been deeply impacted by his profound observations of life. Drew is my beloved son. Drew is also gay. This book is about our journey through a beautiful, happy meadow of father and son closeness, which filled over time with minds of conflict over sexuality and morality, a conflict seemingly irresolvable because of its roots in my deep religious belief. This is the story of how our relationship survived that conflict, even flourished, though not without some scars to show for it. I have been an evangelical Christian for as long as I can remember. I went to a Christian college, a conservative seminary, served as a pastor for over a decade, and since 1999 have been a professional theologian at an evangelical university. I believe the Bible is the inspired Word of God and true in everything it actually affirms. I also believe that the moral principles of the Bible are meant by God to apply to humanity for all time, even though the way those principles are lived out may change over time and from culture to culture. And there lies the conflict. I believe the Bible is clear regarding homosexuality. God intends for sexual activity to be between male and female married partners and does not approve of same-sex relations. The purpose of this book is not to lay out all the biblical arguments for or against traditional evangelical views on sexual behavior. But it is important to share my position right from the start, because it is the foundation of the obstacles that Drew and I have had to overcome to maintain our relationship. It is the conflict that lies at the heart of this book. This book is for those thinking through what it looks like to love their gay neighbor, and who sense that love cannot begin with condemnation. Interestingly, my next-door neighbors are gay, but my first gay neighbor is my son. This book is about what it has looked like for me to love him and to be loved by him in return. This is a book for evangelical Christians and others of conservative faith in relationship with persons who identify as gay. It is for kids who realize they are gay in a family where being gay is not okay. It is also for those in the gay community, especially those who have been hurt by the Christian community, who are open to dialogue, which can lead to better understanding and even friendship. This book is for anyone, Christian, gay, or both, who longs to see true love bridge the difficult gaps between many people of faith and many in the LBGTQ community. True love is possible only when we are honest about who we are. As Drew and I invite you to the table we have set in this book, we do not expect that you will sit down and just surrender your long-held moral, religious, or personal convictions or identities. You have the freedom to be who you are. As we find common ground, we expect everyone facing issues like ours to move toward each other, not by going around their conflicting worldviews, but by going through them. If you are the Christian parent of a gay kid, we invite you to consider what it would mean for you to walk alongside your son or daughter without sacrificing your biblical convictions. If you are a gay son or daughter of conservative religious parents, we invite you to believe that your parents don't have to agree with your sexual choices in order to love and support you. We may come to different conclusions, but if we are all humbly asking the hard and important questions, love can grow. I hope that while reading my journey with Drew, you will resonate with our struggles and hard-won breakthroughs to the relationship we enjoy today. I hope you find what we have learned and experienced brings clarity, love, and healing in your own situation. I hope what we've learned will help you engage your own relationships and our world more productively. And if you are a Christian, more biblically. I hope this book will make you laugh. Some of the stories, especially those told by my co-author, are hilarious. The two of us have laughed a lot during the writing of this book. Welcome relief, because this book is also a book about pain. In our collision of worldviews, collateral damage is not just abstract ideas, but us, bonded together through family and deep friendship, finding ourselves ripped apart by opposing views. Finally, a word to the LGBTQ community. Can I apologize? I am sorry for how you have been treated by members of my own evangelical Christian community. You have been hated, reviled, persecuted, and lampooned. Indeed, since I was in high school, the most common word I have heard from evangelicals about homosexuals is that they are disgusting. That kind of treatment is an abomination, especially in light of the Bible's consistent message that God's fundamental attitude towards the world is one of love, and that my main responsibility in the world is to love Him and my neighbor. I recognize that as you read what I have written, you may find my beliefs and my approach to my son misguided, even dangerous. My hope is that the story of our relationship will illustrate that people who believe as I do have loving, deep, and productive relationships with persons of the LGBTQ community. That disagreement does not have to mean homophobia. My kids would tell you that as they were growing up, the one thing I said to them more than anything else is that life is about relationships. If that is true, then it applies even to families like ours that have been torn by battles over sexuality. I am learning that the only way to stay in relationship is to come to the table again and again. I believe with all my heart that through relationship we can both retain our own views of the world and still come to a place of common ground, of love. I believe that because I am beginning to live it with my son.
Recently, I was sitting on the airport tarmac in New York on the first leg of a journey to my favorite place, Cairo, Egypt. The capital of the Arab Islamic world may seem an odd place for a post-evangelical American white boy to feel at home, but some things in life we don't choose. They just are. From the runway, I saw a summer nor'easter building. No rain yet, but a black sky full of electric charge ominous enough to keep us grounded minute after agonizing minute. I checked the time on my phone over and over, knowing that if we didn't take off soon, I'd miss my connection and end up stranded in Toronto. I had not turned off my handheld device, nor did I have any intention of doing so. I found through the years that takeoff is inevitably the moment in which I'll receive an important call from an ex-boyfriend, my probation officer, or in this case, my mother, whose FaceTime arrived from my grandparents' open grave plot in the middle of Kansas. It was Nana and Papa's going-in party, and Mama wanted me to hear the banjo hymns. The burial of my father's mother and her husband had been put off for some time because the ground in Kansas stays hard for a long while after the winter, something I learned as a kid when Nana and Papa's Labrador did us the discourtesy of dying at Christmas, obliging us to keep Dory in the deep freeze till June. Fortunately, there was no trouble in securing a plot. Nana and Papa had selected theirs years ago. They showed us once on a family vacation, drove us to the cemetery, walked us straight up to the grassy spot and said, "See, kids, here's where we'll be, right here in the same town we were born in. Isn't that neat? Who's hungry?" While Kansas thawed, Nana had been safe in my aunt and uncle's closet in a very nice urn. It was dark in there, and my uncle had tripped over her, but only once. There had, however, been some disagreement about travel arrangements on the way to the cemetery. "Nana cannot ride in the trunk," my uncle cried, horrified at my mother who was ready to lower her in. "She was claustrophobic." So Nana rode in the back, in the middle. Just about everyone at the graveside gaggle had a musical talent, but since my uncle had forgotten to bring instruments, Nana's favorite hymns had to be found in their banjo karaoke versions on someone's iPhone. That impromptu symphony was what flashed from my screen as I climbed toward 30,000 feet. Mom gave a cheery wave, turning the camera so I could see everyone passionately lining the Appalachian hymns that Southern white Christians sing best. "One bright morning, when this life is over, I'll fly away," coursed through my headphones, while I ducked low to avoid being seen by the airline attendants, especially the tan, solid one who I hoped would later ask me if I'd like to purchase any snacks. As quietly as I could, I took the tenor line. Then the signal got patchy, then it was gone, and out the window I could see nothing of the city, only the flash of far-off lightning in obsidian clouds. If the signal had lasted, I would have known all the verses. The songs they were singing, songs of humble walking with the Savior, of Christ's glory in this world and the next, of the day of redemption and reconciliation that hurries towards us soon and very soon, are the songs I know by heart. They're part of the heritage that my Nana handed down to her children, including my father, and which he has handed down to me. You can disagree with your heritage. You can criticize the ideas it represents as truth, but you are never without it. The songs of our fathers stay in us through the sweet by and by till the end. Evangelical Christianity is my heritage, and yet it's the rare Christian parent and gay child who have the kind of love for each other's company on a personal level and fierce rejection of each other's worldview on a philosophical level that my father and I share. If nothing else, a guy who teaches evangelical theology plus a guy who writes for a magazine called Gay Letter make for entertaining dinner conversation. Ours is a deeply personal issue that intersects one of the significant social crises of our day. According to the best estimates from the National Alliance to End Homelessness, between 1.3 and 1.7 million youths go homeless at least one night of the year in America. Around 40% of those kids are LGBTQ. The overwhelming reason for their homelessness is family rejection. This is only the most visible fallout between conservative parents and gay kids. Less immediately noticeable than the queer kid sleeping on the sidewalk is the girl in an evangelical family who lives in terror that someone will discover that she and her best girlfriend from youth group have fallen in love. Or the popular guy on the worship team who gets dropped off at the back entrance of the Christian Counseling Center every week to work on healing his orientation. Then there is the other side of the coin, equally obscured. Somewhere in America this weekend is a mother singing in church with her hands lifted in worship, like always, but behind her smile of holy peace, she's inconsolable. Her adult daughter has just come out to her. This mom knows what her beloved conservative church says about the gays, and because she loves her daughter, she's terrified that their relationship will never be the same. Mostly she just wishes there was someone who understood. Our book was written for those kids and parents, for their extended families and communities. Our perspectives are biased. Our experiences are those of the white, male, middle, and upper class, full of the inadequacies that come with such privileged people trying to engage issues of social significance. But in this kind of a book, we can only speak from what we know personally and hope that some part of it is useful. This isn't a definitive textbook. It's an offering. The important thing is that everyone comes ready to listen. Our table is set for the ones who thought nobody could see them, who have struggled to speak their experience because of crippling fear, anger, pain, and uncertainty. Here, at this table, I want us to have a conversation. No one needs to come away from this table changed in what they believe or how they identify for us to have been successful. What my dad and I hope and pray is that we all come away more full of love and understanding for others than when we arrived, that we will find ways to keep the songs of our heritage alive while staying true to who we are. If that happens, we will have done what we were called to do. This table will have achieved its sacred purpose.